Hello, everybody. Hope you're all well. I thought today I would discuss free will and freedom. Freedom. We all want freedom, liberty. We want freedom to do our lives, to live our lives as we want to. We have our free will to do what we want, think what we want, say what we want, or so we think. Is our free will really ours? And are we manipulated day by day to think, feel, act in certain ways? I think that's what Gurdjieff is saying, which is why we become automatons and mechanicalized. Never mind, mechanical. Tried to be a smarty pants there and use a smart word that I couldn't say. So, free will. Do you have it? Have you developed it? Have you got freedom to do what you want? Anyway, this is what Gurdjieff says about this. He says this in Meetings from Remarkable Men. Free will, actually, no, it's not, it's from Views from the Real World. Free will is the function of the real I, of him who we call the master. He who has a master has will. He who has not has no will. What is ordinarily called will is an adjustment between willingness and unwillingness. For instance, the mind wants something and the feeling does not want it. An ordinary man is ruled now by the mind, now by the feeling, now by the body. And that's where we're not being free, because different personalities in us, different eyes are taking over and taking control, rather than the master being in charge, saying, I'm working, this is how it is, this is how we're being, this is what we're going to do. Instead, we're being pulled here, there, and everywhere by our different eyes. So continuing from Views from the Real World. Choice of action is only possible if a man is free inside. Well, are we free inside? It's like the conscious question. When you say to somebody, "Are you really conscious?" And everyone says, of course I am." But we mean real conscience, real consciousness, genuine consciousness. Most people are asleep. Well, it's the same with our free will. Are we really using it, or are we just going along with what's being the program, as we might say, we're just following the program? Continuing from Views from the Real World. Liberation leads to liberation. The meaning by liberation is meant the liberation which is the aim of all schools, all religions, at all times. This liberation can indeed be very great. All men desire it and strive after it. But it cannot be attained without the first liberation, a lesser liberation. The great liberation is liberation from influences inside us. The lesser liberation is liberation from influences within us. Actually, I might have read that. Let me just say that sentence again. I'm messing this one up. The great liberation is liberation from influences outside us. The lesser liberation is liberation from influences within us. Only a man who has already become free of influences falls under external influences, which is true, isn't it? You know, most of the time we're being led by the outside forces, our outside everyday lives, our families, our work, our, the people we hang out with, governments, blah, blah, blah. We are influenced by what they're doing, what they say, how they've acted towards us, or how they're acting. We have to react to it. And we really need to be more aware of what we're doing, and is it our own free will that's letting us do what we want to do? Instead, if we're being influenced by other people or doing things to follow the pattern of other people, most people are doing things to make the individual follow what they want. Most people are out to get people to do what they want. Few people are there to do what each person should do individually. Everybody has an agenda. Most people get in touch with me because they're after something, come along, be all nice. Oh, it's so lovely to see you. Do all the niceties, and then suddenly, wham, here comes oh, actually, what I need is this. Oh, can you do this for me? Everybody has an agenda. Governments, companies want you to, shops want you to go and buy their products, so they try and manipulate you into thinking like that. So our outside influences do affect us, even though we like to think they don't, but they do. But if we can get our inner side, our inner harmonious person brought together and come out with our real I and our genuine I, the master, then we'll be liberated from all that. We'll be aware of what's going on, and instead we will do actions that we want to do, which hopefully will be the higher actions, working with the divine, and not not using them to get what we want, which is where I suppose Gurdjieff talks about people can crystallize badly or wrongly. There are people that probably can develop this kind of thing and then use it for their own agenda. And we don't want it to be for our own agenda. We want it to be so that we're working with the divine and doing what the divine wishes, working in harmony with the divine, in Gurdjieff's case, his endlessness, and being part of the harmonious maintenance of the universe. But we have to be free to do that. So continuing views from the real world. I would advise you to try freeing yourselves and to do so without unnecessary theorizing, by simple reasoning, active reasoning with yourselves. We have many independent enemies, but the chief and most active are vanity and self-love. And I'm going to do a show on vanity and self-love, very interesting topics of what goes on with ourselves and other people. Everybody lives with a bit of vanity and self-love. One teaching even calls them representatives and messengers of the devil himself. And the devil does like everyone to look good, and the devil does niggle at us of, it's all about yourself, and to, go for things for yourself. No, everybody lives for themselves. I remember in the 1980s, it became a bit of a new age thing of you only important person is yourself. And I do agree, you have to develop yourself before you could go and help other people. But it seems to be getting rid of the community faction that's needed amongst people. We're still a community. We still need each other. But the devil likes to play on that and separate us all. 2020, 2021, all this self-isolation and lockdowns and social distancing and having to wear masks, we can't see each other. I know this is going to be a bit conspiracy theory to many people, but I truly believe this is all quite satanic. This is not a humane way of living with each other. It's dehumanizing us, and I've done lots of shows about that in my dehumanization lockdown series. But that's my own personal fault, and this is what my thinking is going, and my feeling too. And this is what the devil's all about. He's trying to dehumanize us because he wants to take us away from God. And by doing that, he makes us feel shit, makes us break ourselves down so that we become a bit self-loathing and things like that. But then he also throws at us things like, you can improve yourself by going and doing this so that you're the best looking guy or the best looking girl at the show, or the best looking guy, best looking girl at the party. It's all this self-love and vanity that comes in. It's being done so that it's about yourself. But which eye is it working on? Not your master eye. It's working on your personality and your different eyes. So we went off on a bit of a tangent then. So from C.S. Knott, free will is not to be had for the asking, nor can it be brought in a shop. Impartial action is the basis of inner freedom, the first step towards free will. So it's the impartial action with other people, being impartial with what's happening, what's being done to you by others, what's being seen happening by others. We need to take a step back and look at it impartially, which can be difficult because we want things to affect us, or we've been brought up to think that everything affects us, cause and effect. So we look at things as whether it's for ourselves, whether it benefits ourselves, and other people are looking at it whether it benefits themselves. Few people look at things as if it benefits the whole, not the individual. Few people want to do things to make it better for everybody. Some do, and some have a bit of a nasty agenda doing that because they want control. So it's, again, a difficult one to see. You've got to really try and look at these people and I want to say see through them, see through the fakes and the people that think they're doing everything for everybody else's better benefit, or whether it's their own private agenda, or whether they're on some kind of ego trip, or if they're going to save the world. These are the things we have to look out for. The greater freedom is the liberation of ourselves from outside influences, the lesser from influences within us. So that's a repeat of that one. How do we get away from outside influences? It's really difficult. You know, our jobs are affected by outside influences. We need money to pay the rent and to buy our food. So we have them kind of outside influences. So again, it comes back to the training of becoming impartial and not letting these things affect you in such a way that the rat race gets you down, the stress of your job gets you down. You know, I'd say to people, try and find jobs that you enjoy. Not easy in this day and age. There's not many jobs out there that people actually enjoy. But when you go to work with your work head on and enjoy your work that you're doing, or put your, you know, full concentration into it so that you're getting something from it. It's like when you do the washing up, concentrate on doing the washing up. You're washing up the dishes to make them nice and clean and shiny. But there's something like meditative about doing it when you're concentrating on it. And it's kind of the same about when you're doing your work and you happen to get on that train to go to work, or, you know, the everyday life things that happen, which kind of slipped my mind at the moment because we haven't done any of that for almost a year, since it's coming up to a year of lockdown. You know, and for me, that kind of thing is something I'm having to work on, the outside influences of the lockdowns, what's been going on, all this virus, vaccinations, masks, all that kind of thing. I've had to work on myself about it all. I had a very negative energy towards it all at the beginning, but I have to take a step back and be impartial to it all and realize, okay, some people need to do what they're being told to do because they are definitely in fear, and want to believe that the governments and the World Health Organizations are here to help them. Great, that's good for them. I don't come from that idea or that attitude, but instead I need to change my attitude round of to not let that affect me. I mustn't get angry that all this is going on. Instead, I have to let them outer influences occur, be aware of them, but not get dragged down into them. And then hopefully I can work on my inner influences so that I can become more harmonioused in myself. Maybe I can't say these words today because it's a bit of a difficult talk. Maybe Gurdjieff doesn't want me to say it. I don't know. Or maybe the divine doesn't want me to say it. But I'm trying to use this as an example of that, you know, the outer influences that are going on affect me. So I need to become more impartial so that I can work on my inner influences to become joining all my centers together. It's a difficult thing to do when things are so blatant in our faces. And before all this, I'm sure we used to let our everyday lives interfere with ourselves and our outside influences from our social life and our work. That all seems really another lifetime away now, and also doesn't seem as important as what's going on now, does it? It's strange how all this occurs. So we have to look at how these outer influences are influencing us, and whether it's helping our development with our inner influences. I suppose I'm being an outer influence making these shows, but in some ways it helps me understand where I'm coming from. Maybe helps other people in their way, I don't know. But I'm not, as I've said in many shows, I'm not a teacher. I get things very mixed up. And that's why I like the comments and everything in the comment section with these videos. It's nice to be able to discuss things with people and help each other understand what's going on in the work. But hopefully we're working on our inner influences altogether and not being affected by the outer influences or becoming impartial to things. Maybe I should do one on impartiality next. Till next time, adios.